The Americans made a hasty and a botched-up exit from Afghanistan. U.S. President Joe Biden promised over-the-horizon monitoring to the war-torn country. He even said that the U.S. will act quickly and decisively if there is a direct threat in the region. But what can Pentagon do sitting miles away with no military on the ground and the Taliban in power? Biden cannot make the ISIS-K fighters pay, as he had vowed, which is why the U.S. has now approached Pakistan. According to U.S. media reports, Washington and Islamabad are nearing a formalized agreement to use the latter's airspace. This to conduct military and intelligence operations in Afghanistan. The revelation comes at a time when U.S. has had a setback after the August 26th blast in Kabul. 13 U.S. soldiers died that day, so this agreement with Pakistan is extremely critical. It will help carry out counter-terrorism operations against ISIS-K and other adversaries in Afghanistan. In the coming days, this air corridor through Pakistan to Afghanistan may become even more critical because U.S. might resume flights into Kabul to fly out its citizens and others who remain in the country. What is interesting is that Pakistan is dragging India into this ambiguous deal. In exchange of the airspace access, Islamabad is interested to sign a memorandum of understanding. If this MOU is signed, then the Pentagon will have to assist Pak military in counter-terrorism operation within Pakistan and also help manage Islamabad's relationship with New Delhi. Meanwhile, activists are hopeful that this access will not be limited for counter-terrorism, but will also aid at the humanitarian front. While leaving Kabul, U.S. officials had said that the relationship with the people of Afghanistan has not ended and that the Biden administration will continue to help as it was doing before withdrawal. It is also important to speculate how well this deal will sit with the Taliban because Pakistan has been cozying up with the group even before they forcibly seized power in Kabul. So a U.S. presence so close to home might be viewed as betrayal for Taliban. As of now, it's not yet clear what Pakistan wants or how much the U.S. would be willing to give in return. Well, let's talk more about this latest development. Anas Malik, thank you very much for staying with us. I have two questions about this airspace talks that I want a single response on from you. Despite Pakistan asserting that they will not hand over their air bases to the U.S., critics still argue that the U.S. is likely to push on with the talks. If the talks do actually proceed and an agreement is reached, what good will this planned airspace agreement do to Afghanistan? And who is likely to gain more from this critical air corridor consensus?
Well, as we speak, there is no official word on the talks. The Pakistani Ministry of Foreign Affairs had put out a statement saying that no such proposal is has been, no such understanding has been there, and that Pakistan and the U.S. already have an existent mechanism for regional security and counter-terror cooperation on which they engage quite frequently. This is what the Pakistani Ministry of Foreign Affairs has maintained. The Pakistani leadership, including the Prime Minister, has time and again said that Pakistan will quote-unquote absolutely not provide bases to the United States. But this is not about bases. This is about an air corridor. We've previously seen the air line of communication being there, which basically allowed the US to use Pakistani airspace while they flew in from Gulf into Pakistan south, onwards to Afghanistan south, and then into Afghanistan. So a mechanism did exist in the past. It might not be currently, and there is no official rebuttal. The Pakistani Ministry of Foreign Affairs clarification cannot be taken as a rebuttal by any means. So there's a lot of ambiguity on that, whether or not there are talks ongoing or not. What would be the possible outcome of these talks? Who would be the real-time beneficiary? That is very clear that the US wants eyes and ears in Afghanistan, and having that through Pakistan, or in having presence in Pakistan and keeping an eyes and ears in Afghanistan, that would be much more cost effective and time effective as well. Clearly, the Pakistani leadership has a lot to explain on their part. Whether or not they are engaging with the US or not, that remains to be seen. Eric?
Thank you very much, Anas Malik, for that update.